Good morning. Good morning. I am back on. I'm live. This is Samantha Gregory, and this is my 31-day personal Periscope challenge. And I am here to talk about, let's see, that's not, know yourself. That's what I'm talking about today. Know yourself. You can visit me at samanthagregory.com to learn more about me. But today, again, I'm talking about knowing yourself. And when you know yourself, man, that's amazing. It becomes so much easier to live life and to get make the most out of life, to live in fearless freedom and to love yourself. So we're going to chat about that this morning. And so I hope you all have had a good evening, had a good day yesterday, that you made some strides based on our Periscope from yesterday as well, and that you are ready to listen in and to learn how to know yourself and all the benefits that come with it, right? Because there's so many benefits. So I want to share that with you. I'm going to flip it around and I'm going to say hello, good morning. 3, 2, 1. Hey there. Hey, good morning. How are you? This is Samantha again. I got a little more light this morning so you can kind of see my pretty brown skin and you can say hello and we can chit chat a bit before we get right in. So how are you? How are you doing today? I hope everything is going well. So today's topic is going to be amazing. I'm not going to be long. I try not to be too long, but I like to just drop some serious nuggets into your life to encourage, inspire, and empower you to recognize your worth, embrace your freedom, and attract love and wealth. That's what it's all about for me. Because the more you know yourself, the more you love yourself, the more you can be effective in the world and you can love and fulfill your purpose with power and fearless freedom when you're at a point where you are loving yourself. So thanks so much for being here this morning. Why did I choose this topic? Well, first of all, it's pretty near and dear to me. And before I get started, invite someone to look at this Periscope. And, invite people, just swipe to the right if you're on an iOS device or Apple device and swipe down. I think it's down or up on Android. I can't remember. Sorry, I don't have an Android. And invite some people. And if you like what I'm saying, give me some hearts. I would love to see that you really are getting it, you're appreciating it, and that you are getting some value out of it. That's really what I'm about. So why did I choose this topic today? Because this is one of my life lessons. This 31-day personal Periscope challenge is about me sharing my life lessons with you so that you can live more effectively, more empowered, and more in fearless freedom. So knowing yourself is big because for years I struggled with who am I? Every person asks that question, right? We're teenagers or when we're kids, we're like, who am I? I mean, we know who our parents are. We know who they say we are, but who am I really? And what is my place in the world? So I went on a quest to discover who I am because I felt like I was just different. Like, I don't want to say the black sheep, but I was like the odd duck out, right? I felt like the ugly duckling. I felt like I didn't belong. There was no place for me. And so I went on this quest to discover who I am because I really wanted to learn how to like myself, first of all, and then eventually start to love myself, even though that wasn't in my consciousness. But I just felt that if I knew myself, that I could become a better version of me, that I could discover God's purpose for me, and that I could live it full out in the world. And I think that's what we're all here for. We're all here to live out our purpose full on so that we can make a difference and so that we can leave the world a better place than when we got here. So I went on this quest to know myself, started reading books, I started listening to seminars, I started to ask questions about myself, I started to journal, and that's one of the biggest things I did. And of course I prayed about it. Who am I, God? Why am I here? What did you design me for? Why am I so odd? And why am I not like everyone else? Because everyone around me felt like they were these outgoing, extroverted, popular people, but I was this shy, reserved person who didn't feel like they fit in. So it was challenging for me. It felt difficult, and I felt like I was always lonely and alone because of how different I was from everyone else. But then I made some discoveries. And those discoveries came about because like I said, I read, I listened to seminars, but I also did a lot of tests. Now, tests are fantastic. These personality tests, I'm not talking about the ones you find on Facebook. I'm talking about the real deal test. I took a temperament test to discover what kind of temperament I have. I took a personality test, the Myers-Briggs temperament indicator. I took that test to discover, on a deeper level, who I am, why I am the way I am. And I took a few other tests. I can't even remember them right now. But once I learned some core things about my personality, and hello there, thanks for being here. When I learned some core things about my personality, it really opened my eyes to who I was. And I was like, wow, this is fantastic. So the first test I took, I took a temperament test. You can look it up online, and you can find it. There's several out there. But my temperament, for the most part, when I was younger, was melancholy. Now, that wasn't really good, at least I didn't think it was, but for every temperament, there are strengths and there are weaknesses, right? And so we gotta let go of the fact that we have to be perfect, or we should see ourselves as perfect. That's not necessarily true. We are who we are. And my temperament, being melancholy, was that I was quiet, I was a deep thinker, I kind of had a tendency to be depressed, but that's neither here nor there at this point. But I discovered later on that a lot of times the temperament that we have younger in life may sometimes change, especially because we've learned new things, we've experienced new things, life has changed for us, and so we're not necessarily have the same temperament. So I redid that test, and so what actually I'm tell you the 4 temperaments is sanguine, choleric, melancholy, and phlegmatic. And those 4 types of temperaments, they're based on what they call the tempers, and that's from medieval times. So the melancholy is like slow moving, it's like calm, there's no ruffling the feathers, it's just is what it is. You think a lot, you're really deep, you tend toward depression or what have you, but you're also a great leader. The choleric, they're like those really rah, intense people personalities that it's like, they easily anger, they're in your face, it's pretty interesting. That's the choleric. The sanguine, they're the happy-go-lucky ones. They're the people that nothing, bothers them. They are just like, they're the extroverted ones are the sanguine and the choleric. The introverted ones are the melancholy and the phlegmatic. Phlegmatic, easygoing, nothing really bothers them. They get along with everyone, and they're just unbothered people, but they have a pleasant personality. So I was a combination of the melancholy phlegmatic, which was pretty volatile, if I do say so myself, but that was based on a situation that was happening in my life. And so I just went along, got older, started reading a little bit more about it, and then I took another test, a Myers-Briggs type indicator, I think that's what it's called, and that's where you discover whether you're introverted or extrovert, if you are a feeling person or a sensing person, if you're perceptive or you're thinking, and if you're judging or sensing. So and there's like 16 combinations, and so I found out which one I am, and so I happen to be an INTP. It's like one of the most rare personality types, especially for women. But I learned that about myself, and the more I discovered about who I am, and began to accept it, both the good and the bad, it made such a big difference in my life. So I recommend that you go and you take a temperament test, and you also go and take the Myers-Briggs test. And there's some other ones. There's an Enneagram test, and there's some the DISC test. There's a lot out there, but there are a few that are free online. So go and just take some tests and kind of discover who you are if you don't already know. Because again, knowing yourself is important to learning to accept yourself. And when you accept yourself, you learn to love yourself. So it goes to me in that order. You know yourself, you accept yourself, and then you begin to love and embrace yourself. And that makes you, for a happier person, it makes you feel that you have some value and worth. You begin to feel validated in who you are, and you're not looking outside of yourself for that validation, which I think is really important, because when we start looking outside ourselves, we get caught up in other people's opinion of who we are. And when you get caught up in other people's opinion, you accept the labels that they put on you, and that's not healthy, because the label they put on you may not be a good label. It may be something that's destructive. It could be something that is completely not you, and you walk around thinking that you're one way when you're actually another. And so it's important to discover yourself early on and begin to accept and then love yourself. And then the interesting benefit about all of this is when you know yourself and you accept yourself, it's so much easier to accept other people. You have less judgment of other people when you accept yourself and love yourself, because you begin to realize that people are human and they make mistakes. They have their own quirks, their personality, and you can't do anything about it. Just like you don't want anyone to change you, you really get to the point where you don't want to change anyone else, especially when you have that self-acceptance. So that's in a nutshell what knowing yourself means in this world. It means that you have that ability to be you. And it's okay. Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. And as you go along in life, you have less stress because, again, you know who you are. You have less drama because, again, you know who you are. People aren't defining you. You're not accepting other people's labels. You're able to have healthy boundaries around your life. And those healthy boundaries, you determine what they look like. You know, you don't want people stepping over your invisible line or getting in your bubble or, you know, getting in this square. It's really, really important to get to the point where you know yourself well enough. And this is a process. It takes some time. It's taken me a few years to really get to this point of knowing myself, loving myself, and accepting myself, and trusting that I'm okay. And I don't need anybody else's validation. I don't need anybody else's applause. I simply can be myself and love myself and be able to give abundant love to other people who walk into my life. So I hope that was helpful for you. For those of you who came in a little late, you can watch the replay and you can learn the process I went through to get to know myself and discover the benefits of knowing yourself, both for yourself and for others. And I hope that as you go forward in this day, that you'll find some tests to take that will give you some insight on who you are. Be willing to take the time to answer those questions, because it's not a quick test. It could take a minute or two. It could take about 10 minutes, maybe 15, I'm not sure. But go take some tests, learn who you are, and when you've done that, come back and let's talk about it, okay? We might talk about it tomorrow. But in the meantime, go visit samanthagregory.com to learn more about who I am, what I offer. I'm a personal development coach, and I love helping people discover who they are, discover their own life print, because we are all unique. We have a unique life design and pattern, and so I help you discover what that is and how to get to the point where you are totally in love with yourself, so that you can be totally in love with the people who come into your life, and trust and know that you're worthy to do, be, and have anything that you want to have in life, and to allow that in other people's lives as well. So be well, take care, have an amazing day, and let's talk again soon. Bye.